Hey, what's happening, people? My name's William Adoasi, and I'm most well known for being the founder of a watch brand called Vitae London. Vitae is Latin for life, and our whole mantra is to be the watch brand changing lives. So in essence, with each watch we sell, we help support childhood education across Sub-Saharan Africa. Since launching my business, which is predominantly an e-commerce business, I found that so many people were coming to me to request specific advice around so many areas, and I felt like it would be much better and a much better use of time if I was able to support a lot more people in a bigger scale. So that's the reason that I've started this YouTube channel. I'm going to be showing snippets of my lifestyle in general and snippets of building the business, but most importantly I'm going to be giving insights around the e-commerce space and a lot of my big learnings in that area. But before we go into my specific business now, I just wanted to, give you a bit of an overview of my experience and my history leading up to starting Vitae London. So I've started my first ever business when I was 19. So at the age of 18, I went to uni, went for a year, dropped out, and kind of hid it from my parents from a season. But yeah, I dropped out of uni and started my first ever business, which was a sports academy. I realized that a lot of people in my area, a lot of people that I'd grown up with, a lot of young people with great talent had these qualifications to deliver sporting classes. They were FA level 1 or FA level 2 qualified. So they were able to deliver these courses, but they weren't doing anything with that talent or that qualification or ability. So what I then did was I rallied a lot of these people around me, and then I started calling up schools, started calling up primary schools. So in the UK, primary school is from age sort of about 3 or 4 all the way up into age 11. And at the time, the government had funding to tackle childhood obesity. So I was able to call up these schools and tell them about these amazing coaches and this amazing talent that I had in my roster. And then the schools were able to draw down funding from the government, and we had this just perfect cycle of us making our margin, us sending these young people in to deliver these sessions, and then the schools getting these amazing sessions at a good rate. So I ran that business for about 3 years. It was my first 6-figure business, which was amazing. At the age of 21 at this point, we'd hit 6 figures, and things were going good until, unfortunately, government pulled funding and that business model just didn't work anymore. So at this point, the business model it ceased to make sense anymore because there wasn't the funding coming down from the government to the schools. Our whole business model just collapsed literally overnight. And it was such an amazing journey for me and an amazing time because I felt like running my first business, I just learned so much. I feel like you often actually learn a lot more from your failures. You learn a lot more from your difficult seasons than you do from the seasons where you're constantly winning. And some of the biggest learnings I learned from that business was just the importance of cash flow management for one. I think if we had looked into other ways of generating income, if we had managed our cash flow better and maybe not rushed into getting an office space and all these other little bits, then I think the business would have potentially lasted longer. But yeah, unfortunately that business came to an end and I got my amazing learnings. From that, I then went into the city and I worked as an insurance broker and then a recruitment consultant. And then again, it was amazing to begin with. It was awesome. I worked my way up within both fields, was earning a really good salary at one point as well, especially in the recruitment game. But it got to a point where I realized that working just for money and solely for money just wasn't enough of a motivating factor for me. And I knew that I had to work and I had to build something with a larger purpose, with a greater purpose. I also realized that I wanted to do something I was truly passionate about. And that's why I'm so passionate about the e-commerce space, because it reduces the barriers of entry for people to build businesses in so many different arenas, which just wasn't available before. So I'm working this job I'm not particularly passionate about. I knew I needed to do something with a deeper purpose, and that's where Vitae was birthed. And I always say Vitae was birthed out of frustration. The frustration of working a job I didn't want to work, the frustration of not being able to be creative day in and day out, and knowing I've always had a creative streak within me. And Vitae was launched in January 2016. So we've been going for just over 5 years, and it's been an amazing journey. The early years were super difficult. I always describe them as a beautiful struggle, because as beautiful as it was being able to build my own baby and my own machine, it was a struggle day to day, in not knowing some of the ins and outs of building a business, in not knowing where to best put my money, and not knowing what platform to initially establish the business with. These were all the questions that I had, that I learned from diving in head first. But with time, I'm hoping that I'm able to help answer a lot of these questions for the community that come around this YouTube channel, and just support you in building your endeavors and building your businesses as well. So yeah, we've been going for 5 years as a business now. Thankfully, we've recently hit the $1 million mark, which is amazing. Some other amazing things that have happened within our business: I've been mentored by the likes of Richard Branson and received endorsements from him. We've been able to cultivate a brand that has had people like the president of Ghana wearing our watches. We've had Ava DuVernay from the States. We've had Michelle Williams from Destiny's Child. We've got our watches in the hands of people like Pharrell Williams as well. And yeah, as well as building your e-commerce business, I hope to just give a lot of gems around branding and the power of branding, and what needs to be done in order to have a successful and strong brand. Because all of these things, and having a message that resonates, all of these things do contribute towards your e-commerce business's success. So I hope to be shedding a lot of light around all of those areas too. In terms of our business, when we first launched, we launched a business on a platform called WooCommerce. So that was within WordPress. So we ran it within WordPress for the first couple years. And then as time evolved, we moved over to Shopify. And that's another thing I'd love to give insights around, just the technology that we've been able to use that has enabled us to scale in a very, very fast way. As I said, with our business, we support children through education, and we've been able to distribute over 5,000 solar lamps to children in need, over 2,000 sets of school uniform to children in need too. We've sold our products in over 30 countries now. And yeah, that's the beauty of e-commerce. You can be sitting in London, you can be sitting anywhere in the world, and you can sell your products worldwide. And I really believe it just gives and empowers a lot more people who have an entrepreneurial mind and an entrepreneurial spirit to really be able to build the dreams that they want to build, especially with the advent of social media and how quickly you can reach the right people with social media. I think it's just, yeah, it's super powerful to use e-commerce, and I hope many more people build within this space, build within new niches and new arenas. I chose watches specifically because I just saw a gap in the market. I saw that there were so many people that were selling watches at an affordable price point that I felt were missing the mark in terms of quality and in terms of aesthetic. I used to collect watches my whole life growing up. So firstly, I would collect the G-Shock watches. So every single color, I literally had every single one of them. And I would match it with all my different outfits. And then when I graduated from the Casios and the G-Shocks, I then started collecting these Aquamaster watches. So I was wearing those watches for a season, and then I was moving into the Fossil watches and the Michael Kors, and I thought those watches were pretty good, but I just felt like within that price point and that range, before I could graduate into the Rolexes and the other really big boy watches, I felt like before graduating into that, there was just such a gap in the affordable price point range. And I felt like there were so many people like me that could probably afford a Rolex, but maybe weren't vested into watches to the point of spending that amount on a watch, but still wanted something that looked really elegant and sleek, like the watches we sell. So that's the reason why we chose watches. That's the reason why we chose the e-commerce space. And to be honest, a lot of our building in the early years was organic traffic. So I'll be showing some tips and some ways in order for you to increase your organic traffic, ways to go viral on social media. We've been viral, especially on Twitter, on many occasions. So I'll be showing you ways around going viral, and we've scaled into obviously paid traffic now, and combining that with our organic traffic too. So I'll be able to show you loads of different tips and tricks we've kind of been able to ascertain to ensure that once we evolve into the paid side of things, that's still scalable and that's still very profitable too. So yeah, that's just a bit about me. That's a bit about why I've started this YouTube channel. I hope you're able to get a lot of knowledge from it. I hope you're able to gain a lot of wisdom and shortcuts. I think that's one of my major objectives. I want to provide shortcuts to the community so that they don't have to go through a lot of the same struggles I've had to go through when building my business. So yeah, I hope to add a lot of value in that area, and stay connected. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to drop a comment below letting me know what specific areas you want me to dive into, and what specific questions you have, and in the weeks to come I'll be sure to answer all of those. But yeah, thanks so much for checking out this video. Thanks for taking the time out, and I look forward to creating a lot more content and videos for you guys to see.